first thing you notice is I'm from England. I've been in America since 2001, so all the bad years really have been here. So I used to work at a cooperative, before coming to America, I used to work at a cooperative in Oxford, England called The New Internationalist. If there's any Canadians here, they might know about it because it's a subscription magazine which is quite well known in Canada. Some people get it in the US, but it's mostly the old empire, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. So it's a subscription magazine that talked about world development issues. So anyway, I came to America, because my wife's a scientist, and so she got a job over here. And for the past 10 years, I've been working at an organization called the Free Software Foundation. A lot of people probably know the term open source. Well, before open source, before that kind of corporate control of open source came about, it used to be called free software. The idea being that it's an emerging freedom that we will need. We have to have control over our computing technology, and so the free software movement is about that. The more popular term, as I say, is open source, and this software, whether you call it open source or free software, is now everywhere, and it's doing everything, and it's slowly taking over everything. It's becoming the real popular way of doing programming, because everyone can get to share the code, build upon each other's work, and cooperate in building amazing new software. And because there's no marketing budget behind this, because there's no one promoting it really, you don't really hear about it. You might have heard of Android or something like that, but generally you don't hear too much about it. But it's actually one of the most successful campaigns really of a new type of way of doing things. And it's based around cooperation. So it's a really interesting place to come from. And I was the executive director there for the last 5 years before joining a local cooperative here in Boston called Red Sun Press, which has been around for almost 40 years as a printer. Red Sun Press was created to be the printer for the social justice movement here, because as we say on our website, freedom of the press, but only if you own a press. You have to own a press to have freedom of the press. So we were set up to do the printing for the social justice movement, because historically printers were very conservative and didn't want to print items which promoted left-wing ideology, basically. So a lot of printers around America, cooperatives, sprung up at that time to do that work. So this is an organization I have just joined. I joined them in December, and hearing about this history, seeing what the mission of the organization was, coming in as their business manager, and looking at the books and looking at who our clients were, and we've got Equal Exchange, we've got Harvest, and some really great co-ops around. But I was shocked to discover that we had no credit unions in our customer list, and yet credit unions are the major cooperative sector here. And I thought that was really interesting. And during my first couple of weeks at the organisation, I realised that what we needed to do was do a better job. If we were going to build a business more, we need to do a better job of our branding and about promoting that brand, so people can find value in it and want to put their printing with us. And most the brand we have is we're this social justice printer printing for organisations which are non-profits and unions, and we need that value of that to be more valuable. We need to make it more popular, and of course the cooperative brand isn't very well promoted. Although our state has got a fantastic cooperative economy, and as Adam mentioned earlier about we have the Worker Valley cooperative sector out in Western Massachusetts, which has been doing great. They're very independent, and they've really built a great co-op sector out there. But really, although we've got all these amazing cooperatives in the state, nothing's really pulling it together. And so I thought, well, that's not good. That's not good for us as a business, as a cooperative. We need to do a better job of that. And so I went about taking the experience I'd come from working for an organisation that was doing a lot of campaigning. I thought, well, let's try and bring some of those ideas to what might be a campaign here in Boston to promote the cooperative. And one thing I've learned about campaigning is that you can't make something happen, right? If your values are, we must put, we must get agreement from the politicians to put up bags to collect dog waste in our local parks. We need those provided. That's not going to happen unless people are ready to support it, right? It's just not going to happen. You can send all the letters you want individually, but unless there's a real upswell of opinion in your local area that's going to say, yeah, we're sick of this, we need something to clear up the park, it's not going to happen. You have to be of your time to do a campaign. You can't make a campaign happen. So what I also think is really exciting about this time is I really believe this is the time for us. This is a great time for the cooperative movement. And it's not because of the cooperative movement. is because of everything that's just happening around us. So like I say, there's this other cooperative, amazing forces going on all around us. Push for open science, the open source movement, the free software movement. There's the internet itself, the way people are sharing information. There's an amazing push for cooperation and openness. And we, as the cooperative movement, should be at the forefront of that, right? We should be helping pull it all together, put our arms up and say, hey, we know about this stuff, we know what it means, and the cooperative should be seen as the entity that makes cooperation happen at a local level. We're the ones who put cooperation into practice. We form a cooperative and we get it done. That's what we're about. So my position here on this panel really is a speculative one. It's about something that I hope will happen. It hasn't happened yet. So this website that you're looking at.
So does Operation Cooperation exist?
It exists in that sense. It exists in that sense. It exists in. I've been putting together an advisory committee made up of some of the very well-known people within the cooperative movement in our state and nationally, and trying to get advice from them, reaching out to people within our community to say, why isn't this working? Why is it the credit unions don't want to talk to us? What is it about that? What's really behind that? Why is it only one credit union in the state that really gets involved in cooperative activity, which, as Adam knows, is obviously in the valley where all that other cooperation is going on. But there's very little interest from the cooperative banks. So I've learned a lot about that, and I know the reason why now. It's mostly because the people who run credit unions have parachuted in from the normal banking sector. They haven't grown up in the cooperative thing. These are professional bankers who want to do banking, and that's what their interests are. So in doing this, what I've come to the conclusion of, and what I really want to sort of encourage other people to do in their efforts, is to look at why people aren't getting involved. And the reason generally is it's not worth their time. It's basically that, right? They're not going to get enough out of it for what you want them to put into it. So my feeling is you need to create something that everyone can extract value from for their cooperative. So what do we as Red Sun Press want? We want more business-to-business economic activity. We want those credit unions to put their printing with us. Okay, that's great. Thanks for the cooperation. Credit unions say, well, what have you done for us? What's our time invested in this? How's that going to be paid back? And so this is what I think we need to combine: a public outreach campaign with improved business-to-business stuff. So what's great for credit unions? Move your money. Remember the Move Your Money campaign from last year? Mm-hmm. We should all be pushing Move Your Money campaigns locally to enhance our credit unions' reputations, to get people to move more money to the credit unions, and for the credit unions to turn around and say, hey, this local cooperative movement, they're doing great business for us. We should be investing in this. This makes great sense for us. What do the food co-ops want? They want people to join as members. So the forward-facing campaign should say, join a credit union, join your local food co-op, right? And so now we've got a nice bit of synergy going on in the sense that the food co-op memberships could be encouraged to join the co-op, the credit union, and the credit union members could be promoted to. There's hundreds of thousands of members of credit unions, right? There's great outreach potential that we could get buy-in to our values if we could get the credit unions to, in their newsletters, to talk about the cooperative movement and how you should join a food co-op or how you should do these other things. So what I'm seeing is there's a way, I think, of doing this more effectively by just asking each sector, what is it you actually want? So what does Equal Exchange want? Oh, they want more brand recognition. So we should say, join a credit union, join a food co-op, support co-op brands, right? Buy Cabot cheese, let everyone know Cabot's a cooperative. Let people know that Equal Exchange is a cooperative. Push the brands, and we can go down each sector and say, what does housing want? Oh, it turns out that for housing co-ops, they need some money to start off a new house. They need a deposit on a house to buy a new cooperative living space. Let's do fundraisers for that. We could do some fundraisers, some seed money for that. Now you're going to, so there's a way of us that we can do this as a way of looking at our community and saying, yeah, there's value in all these things. They all relate to our cooperative movement. And so really that's what, so the first thing we've achieved really with Operation Cooperation was to get Boston City Council resolution actually welcoming this conference to the city. So that was nice. That's the first thing we did. But I think what we need to do is really look at why each sector isn't participating and try and find the value for them in participating, because we're all busy, right? And so it's really hard to get someone to participate unless they can see there's real value in it for them. And there is real value in it if we just think about it, think it through, and plan our actions in that way. And that's really what Operation Cooperation is really about, is trying to bring some of that thinking to how can we promote the brand of co-ops as being about cooperation. How can we increase human cooperation for a better society? The answer is co-ops should be leading the way. And that's how I have approached this, and how I'm hoping people can start to see there's a way that we can bring the branding of co-ops, as it were, back to the forefront as a very valuable thing for our whole society.
Co-ops leading the way. Peter?